Now, the next company that's presenting is SomnoMed. Their ticker on the ASX is SOM. They've treated more than 650,000 patients worldwide across over 27 countries for obstructive sleep apnea and other sleep-related issues. And, actually every year that we've been following this company, they've exceeded their revenue guidance. So we're very excited today to be hosting CEO Neil Verdal-Austin, who's been with the company for 14 years. Previously as its CFO, but taking the reins as the CEO in 2018. He'll take us through the presentation and do a live Q&A at the end. So make sure you submit your questions as they come up. But Neil, over to you.
Thank you, Tim. It's an absolute pleasure. Thank you for inviting us. It's a pleasure to be part of your biotech and medical device webinar. So thank you very much. I presume everybody can see that screen, so I can move forward. The normal disclaimers go before me. And just to cover firstly our vision and mission, really important that our vision is understood. It's really patient-centric. And I think that that's really important for people to understand. It's not anything else. We're about patients and patients reaching the right amount of treatment, the right treatment for them at the right time. And how do we do that? Our mission is to advance this adoption and acceptance of oral appliances in the space in a multidisciplinary way. We involve everybody that's necessary. We don't exclude any partners or parties in trying to reach that treatment for the best treatment for those patients. It's a significant addressable market, and I don't think I need to explain that to many of the audience this afternoon, but 900 million generally suffer from OSA globally. This is a huge, huge market. Mild and moderate is the significant portion of that, and certainly severe is probably only 25%. So oral appliances really are applicable in the mild and moderate category. So we have no issues with the size of market that we have to address. It's the access to that market that really presents its challenges to us, and certainly with the advent of the so-called gold standard so far and CPAP, that's the challenge that we have as an oral appliance company. Obstructive sleep apnea, just to recap, is a disorder that happens when you're sleeping. So here we have the first issue that we have. It's an inherent disease. You don't know that you necessarily have it. It's where the airway narrows and closes at the pharynx, at where that circle is showing the obstruction to occur. And so you can do 2 or 3 different things to try and open up that airway. And one of them, with an oral appliance, is to insert that over the teeth, the upper and the lower, and move the lower jaw slightly forward, and thereby opening up that obstructed airway, as you can see in the open airway slide. I've mentioned CPAP. CPAP is continuous positive airway pressure. It's a mask that people wear over their nose and mouth, and that's been around for 30 plus years, an incredible invention. The dilemma, though, with CPAP is that 50% of patients don't use CPAP after around about 6 months. And most papers, most research papers over the last 20 to 35 years have shown no improvement to the compliance, the patient compliance of CPAP over time. And in fact, it diminishes over time. So the issue that CPAP has, the very first dilemma that the 90% of most positively diagnosed patients get offered, is that there's a poor compliance over time, and that gets worse. Second dilemma with CPAP is that many patients don't get effective treatment all night, every night. And what tends to happen is, even if patients start off with CPAP in the beginning of the night, when they get up for the first bathroom break, they don't put CPAP back on. And so the compliance all night, every night doesn't happen. And unfortunately, it happens in the part of the hour of the night and the hours of the night that you probably need treatment the most in the non-REM sleep stages. So there are really 2 dilemmas that CPAP have at this stage. Of course, it's highly efficacious, but the compliance is pretty low. And so we try and show an effectiveness simulation between CPAP and oral appliances, where after the same full night, in fact, oral appliances could be more effective because of the compliance and patients remaining in treatment. The SomnoMed difference is really a range and a suite of oral appliance products. Our flagship product is the SomnoDent Avant, a very elegant appliance that you wear over your top and bottom teeth. It's held together by a very elegant strap that does the titration, in other words, the dose dependency of titration and treatment for you. And this product really does deliver a highest level for us of what we call continuous open airway therapy comfort and quality. One of the critical things about our products is it includes superior comfort. Comfort equals compliance again. And so we've got to be very careful about making the most comfortable and durable devices in the mouth so that patients remain in treatment. We do that through a proprietary material that we own. It's a comfort liner on the inside of the device, on your teeth. Very, very effective, very, very comfortable for patients to wear. And after 1 or 2 nights, really easy to not even notice that is in your mouth. And I think the effect of that is clearly evidenced by testimonials of patients that did not know that that's how you're supposed to wake up and feel post-treatment, feeling refreshed and ready to go for the day. Just a little bit about SomnoMed itself. We've been around for 17, 18 years. We have 17 independent clinical studies. We're in 28 countries now, so quite spread across the globe. 91% of patients have told us that patient improvement, sleep quality, wearing the SomnoDent, and we have a very high percentage of those that remain in treatment. 740,000 patients now since FY22 has closed, treated with a SomnoDent oral appliance. And one thing that's really, really important is that it's a chronic long-term disease. Patients need to remain in treatment. Compliance is really, really important if we're going to avoid all of the nasty comorbidities, far worse than sleep itself, that come down the line if not treated. Hypertension, cardiovascular risk and diseases, diabetes too, etc., etc. The exciting thing about SomnoMed is we've been building this platform towards a new technology, and a new technology that enables and our oral appliances in the future to be a connected oral appliance. So we've branded this Rest Assure, and as you can see behind me, we all talk about Rest Assure more and more often these days, but it's our inbuilt technology-enabled oral appliances. In other words, in the 2 milled devices, the digitally milled products that we have, the Herbst Advanced Elite and the Avant, we will embed new technology, miniature sensors that will record sleep data all night and every night. So this is an in-mouth efficacy and compliance solution to really appropriately, in our view, compete with CPAP with data. So this is now objective data. It's not subjective. And of course, we're turning a negative of having a custom-made device into a positive, because I now know that that data can only be yours. Your device can only fit your teeth and be worn in your mouth. So Rest Assure itself is technology with sensors in the device. When you wake up in the morning, you take the device out of your mouth, you put it into a docking station, and Bluetooth is then activated. The data starts to download and upload into the cloud, and certain algorithms will then work out AHIs and compliance data, and a whole lot of what we call sleep squiggle lines for the sleep physicians and medical doctors and dentists to see through a portal. The patient will also see their own information, slightly gamified and not so medically technically communicated on a patient phone app. So now we have connectivity and bringing together the sleep physician and the dentist and the patient in the treatment of that patient and knowing what's happening with that patient all night, every night. We've done 2 patient validation studies and continue to analyze the second algorithm study, which will be published towards the end of the year. And this has had high correlations to what we call the NOx home sleep test, which is the gold standard in home sleep testing. So we've taken the NOx test and seen what our device has done in terms of AHI readings and compliance, and made sure that that's highly correlated. And then we've done a second study that validates that efficacy of that algorithm by going the other way. what is the rest assured data shown, and how close was that to the NOx home sleep studies. The timeline for commercial readiness, I've put in Q4 FY22 in red already. That's already passed, and we've done those things. But what's coming in FY23, important for everybody to understand. Our first production runs have happened for internal testing. The end-to-end validation is commenced and is now happening right now. And we're now preparing, I think, 172 documents that need to be done for the FDA submission by, and we hope to do this by Christmas of 22. And then, of course, commercialization is in the hands of the authority guards. And we've been told that takes about 3 months at this stage from the FDA's perspective. So commercial readiness, hopefully around March and April of next year. FY22 financial highlights, they feel years away already. That was in June. But anyway, we had a tremendous year. We reached our guidance and what we promised the shareholders. We grew by 16%. So revenues are around 73 million. We reached our EBITDA positive position, at least it was positive, which is tremendous given the investment that we've made. And we've secured cash, and we've got cash to complete Rest Assure, build the one platform systems around Rest Assure, and to continue to drive forward the growth of the business in all 3 regions. Our total group revenues grew very, very nicely in the second half out of the second waves and third waves of COVID that hit us in the first half. So we grew by 21%, and that gave us our 16% growth for the full year. And we see that momentum continue as we've posted recently in our Q1 results so far. We had some tremendous operational strategic highlights in FY22. Just to talk about a few of them here, the momentum continues with a record Q4 revenue growth. We have our medical initiative, which is bringing together the medical and the dental communities in a very strong marketing way in the US and in Europe, doing very, very well. We have some new technologies that we continue to invest in, which is the Rest Assure project. And we have incredible success of us at the Herbs Advance Elite and Avant, particularly in North America. The future outlook of the company, we've been building these building blocks, if you like, over the last 16, 17 years. We started with really strong clinical research and designing innovative patient comfort forward devices. We've then grown extensive sales and distribution channels in both the medical and dental channels, but across 28 countries globally, which is no mean feat. In doing that, best-in-class service and technical support for things that people might need, patients, dentists, and sleep physicians. And now we start moving from treatment-focused to technology-driven in this business with the investment in the technology of Rest Assure, bringing real objective data to the table. How good or bad is the efficacy? How good or bad is compliance? Are we really keeping patients in treatment, and are they effectively treated over the long term? Really important questions to now answer and compete with CPAP into the future. We've always looked at this market and said, wow, oral appliances really represent a small percentage of positively diagnosed patients, and why and what do we need to do to grow that slice, if you like, of that pie into the future? And so we've looked at building these blocks of key opinion leader groups, clinical advisory boards, the clinical research behind driving changes in reimbursement policies, changing prescribing behaviors of sleep physicians and listening to what they have to say. What are those barriers, and how can we overcome those barriers through technology, best-in-class service, etc. Bringing the effectiveness equation to life, a balance of efficacy and compliance together, which is really critical in assessing the long-term future of a proper medical device solution. And so hopefully through all of these initiatives, growing a greater percentage of that market share. And if we can just grow the market share and change CPAP to oral appliances by 1%, SomnoMed's revenues double globally. So we're not changing and not moving the earth. We're changing prescribing behaviors and opening up what would be not necessary in the mild and moderate categories to have CPAP if the compliance is so low. If the compliance is so high with an oral appliance, why wouldn't you treat those patient groups and those cohorts, those phenotypes, and with an oral appliance more effectively over a longer period of time? The outlook that we've given to the market, I think, is fairly strong in terms of the FY23 guidance, revenue growth of 20% plus. A CapEx investment that we've called out, of course, still investing in the Rest Assure product range and the technology, an EBITDA of 2 million plus, and a cash balance of 20 million by the end of June. And we've outlined the considerations, strategic objectives, and try to also give a future view, a little bit of an aspirational view, to show that our intention is to bring profitability back and value back to the growth story that was SomnoMed for so long, given the current climate and the current economic situation for investors. And that's the presentation. Thank you.